Hey guys, it's Bear with the Gimpy Camper. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start our series off here. We had an overview video. This is going to be part 2. This is like planning your DIY Raptor Liner paint job, as well as thinking like, why would I want to do that, and just answering some common questions. So future Barrett here. I was just going to say that I decided to split this video up into 2 separate videos because it was quite lengthy. So the first one, which was this one, was more of why we chose it, and the next one will be more of the question and answers. So what I did whenever I first started is I did a whole lot of research, and that research was mainly in the form of a lot of YouTube videos and some Facebook groups, which I'll post a few Facebook groups in the link below. But I'll say that the Facebook group has been very helpful. As in all Facebook groups, you can have, you can ask a serious question and get a lot of like nonsense. But all in all, we do try to help everybody in that group. While we're on the subject though, if you do have a question about a specific item, whether it's RV related, whether it's Raptor Liner related, and you're in a Facebook group, use the search bar at the top to see if that's been covered, because a lot of groups, they just get frustrated because you see the same thing over and over and over again. But, don't let that stop you from posting a question that you really need help with. Also, you guys can ask questions and stuff down in the comments. I'm not a professional. This is what I did to my own stuff after just a little bit of some research. I do have a little bit of DIY skills. I think with a little DIY skills and some research, I think that you too can have, a fairly nice paint job that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. If you get like me though, and you go down the rabbit hole of fixing everything else on your truck and upgrading everything else, then it costs a lot of money. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way that my stuff's turned out. I've done technically three Raptor Liner paint jobs now. The first one was a 4Runner. On the 4Runner, I just did the body panels at the bottom, the bumpers, the fender flares, all that stuff. Even though the 4Runner was 25 years old, that's where the paint issues were. So we just kind of fixed those. I did use black on that, and so I didn't really consider that a practice for a Raptor Liner paint job, but it did come in handy as experience. So I went from that. Was my step 1. Well, technically I did my truck bed a few years ago, which was step 1, but for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say that was step 1 in this process, just to kind of get my feels going there. And step 2 was a Honda Pilot that I did for my wife. I bought it at a salvage auction. It had front end damage on it, and because of the front end damage, I did have to rebuild the front end. I had to put a new front grill on it, a new front bumper, a new hood. And I get to do all of those things again because 2 months after I rebuilt this car, my daughter rear-ended someone. Luckily, nobody was hurt or anything like that, but I do have to fix the car again. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But I wanted to do like a full body Raptor Liner paint job before I did my truck, which my truck is 9 years old. It'll be 10 years old this coming year. And, it had some nicks and stuff in the paint. Paint wasn't the greatest. And this is just something that I started seeing on YouTube and thought, I want to try that. A lot of people think I'm crazy when I brought this idea up. My wife was fairly supportive though, so we just kind of went for it. I will say that you will get a lot of hate if you do this and you're posting a lot of pictures and stuff, especially if you have, if you're not starting with a $500 junker. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, you're totally ruining the resale value of your car by doing this. Truthfully, I think a lot of those comments come from people that trade their vehicles in every couple of years. It causes them to throw away money on their own. In my opinion, it's all about my opinion here, my video. So, people do come in on the upside sometimes, trading in and stuff. I can see if it's for a business purpose, but I drive my stuff till the wheels fall off, and then I buy new wheels and I take it on again. So that's just kind of where I'm coming from. Now my truck is a 2016 Ram 2500. It does have a Cummins diesel in it. And I did have a hard time picking a color. I had like 3 color choices that I narrowed it down in between. I narrowed it down to like a military green, which is what I ended up picking, green and black. I narrowed it down to like a desert tan and like a silver with like some metal flake in it. And the silver's kind of what I was going for at first. And then the more stuff that I looked at, the more I was like, I think that I want to actually do like the green and black. So that's what we ended up choosing in the end. Now we're going to have more videos about how this process is done from here on out. However, this is just going to be the very basics. So if you're looking for more detailed stuff, you might want to skip to a different video. But this is going to be the basic, like, I want to do this, I believe. What do I need to look at? What's going to be involved? And what can I paint this on? So that's kind of the stuff we're going to cover here. So one of the first questions that I had is, well, what color can you use? So there's Raptor Liner, there's 2 different sets. There's a black kit and then there's a Tintable kit. And both of those are going to have links in the description below. They are Amazon links, so I do get a little bit of money back from that, but it doesn't cost you anything extra to use those links. So I would appreciate it if you do use them if you're going to buy it anyway. But the black is just your standard black that everybody uses in the back of their truck. I used it in the back of my truck a few years ago. I didn't have enough with one kit to cover the white completely and get a second coat on, and because of that it did chip off quite a bit. I will say that I've never ran out after that project because that caused me so much anxiety. I did go ahead and order a second black kit after I did that, but I never took the time to like recover everything and paint it again until now. So now I went over it quite a few times. I think it's going to be bulletproof. And then there's the Tintable. Well, what's the trick with the Tintable? Well, Tintable, as it suggests, you can virtually make it about any color you want to. Now, with that, a lot of people choose the same color that their car already is just because their paint's faded and stuff like that. Now, personally, I wanted to choose a completely different color. Now, if you want to choose the same color, you could just use your paint code that comes with your car. Go to an automotive paint store, tell them that you need a color tint without binders. The binders is a big deal because that gives you a lot of issues with UV protection if you have binders in it. Now, personally, what I did, because there's also like people have a hard time getting the color to match exactly right. So in the Facebook groups, it says to add like an ounce of black or this or that. I don't really know because I never did that process. So this is the process that I recommend, who's also the sponsor of this project, and it's called Velocitint. Now Velocitint, if you go on their website, which I noticed yesterday, you'll also see a picture of this green truck whenever you go to their website. But when you go to their website, it's going to have different samples. Now they have these sample cards, and the sample cards are actually sprayed with Tintable bed liner, and then they mail them out to you. And the more you get, the cheaper they are. So if you get like 10, I think it comes up to like $2 a piece. And that was just phenomenal to me because I ordered like all the different greens when I was thinking about my truck. And then I actually took them around because a lot of them are pretty close together and you can't really tell that big of a difference. So I actually took them around the hospital where I was working, and I was like, pick a color, we're having a poll. And so the military green won. I also think the military olive was the one that was really close. I mean, it was just a hair of a shade different. It was a little bit of a lighter green, but you really had to look at it to tell the difference. Now, again, so after that, you buy their tint in the pouches. And they come in pouches, and with 1 pouch per quart of the Raptor Liner. It's real easy to mix up. The Raptor Liner is like an epoxy, so it has like the base and then it has a hardener. And so what you do, a lot of times they recommend that you mix the colors outside of the bottle. And so that way you can really see what it looks like and make sure that it's working well. And so what the recommendation is that you pour all of the base material into a clean bucket. I just ordered some like paint pails off of Amazon. All the links to everything that I used is going to be down in the description. And so pour all that in there. Now all of it's not going to come out because it's really thick. It's almost like toothpaste thick. And so then what you do is you take the hardener and you pour in that bottle, and then when you shake that bottle up, that helps loosen up some of the other stuff that didn't come out, and then you pour that out into the jug with the rest of the base. And then what I usually do is stir it up a little bit, and then after I stir it up, then I take my pouch of my tint from Velocitint, I open it up, dump it out in there, squeeze all that color out that you can, just like emptying a roll of toothpaste. And then I take a stir stick and I stir it up. And then most of the time, you take all of that and it fits right back into the original container, which is what you attach to the spray gun. I've had 1 or 2 times where it didn't quite all fit in, and that's the thing, like some people mix it in the bottle, and I accidentally did that like once that I wasn't thinking. I was hot and tired and whatever. But the thing is it's harder to get it to mix really well because there's not a lot of empty space left in that bottle by the time you add the tinting. And just like the color samples, if you order your tint from Velocitint, which is cheaper than the tints that they sell on Amazon, or at least they were the last time I looked, is about 30% less if I remember correctly. But on top of that, the more of those you buy, the cheaper that they end up being as well, just like the samples. All right, so let's talk about why Raptor Liner. Why would you even want to do this? So for me, the reason that I like it is because it's a durable material. It doesn't scratch as easily as paint. It will for a little bit when you first put it on, but it is very durable. When I tell you that my daughter rear-ended somebody in the Honda Pilot, I was very impressed that it only flaked off in one spot. Now on the hood, there was like a very big harsh dent, and along that it did crack, I'll say that. But most of the body where it's all caved in, there is not a problem with the Raptor Liner at all, and it had only been on there for 2 months. And it does take a matter of weeks to like fully cure after you put it on there. It's supposed to be out of the rain for approximately 3 days, but it still is curing for a number of weeks. Now, along with that durability, I'll say that, you know, I tried to find enough videos, as many as I could, about like reviews after so many years or something like that, because I wanted to see like how's this going to hold up. Supposedly it's got pretty good UV protection, and a lot of those review videos that I found on the internet basically said that the places that it's peeling, which most of the time ended up being like in the wheel wells, everybody said it's probably because they didn't prepare the surface as good as they should have. So for that reason, I took like every body part that I could off and I sprayed them all separately. That way I could get in there, I could really get in these thin lines and places around the fenders and really try to prepare it well. Now for me, the other thing that I think is great about it, it's going to take more time initially to do it the first time, especially if you're going to do in the door jams and stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But after you're done, and say something happens and you did like really mess up the side of your car and the body panel's still okay, but the Raptor Liner's messed up, or it flaked off a huge chunk there, what do? Well, it's really easy. All you do is you can go through, because you don't have to spray in the door jams or anything. You already got everything the same color. You already know what color you used. So I mean, you already know how the process is because you already did it once. So basically you go through and you tape off everything like the windows, and you put like some foam tape or something in between the door sills. That way you don't blow any in around the doors. And, you know, plastic off your tires or take them off, whatever you want to do there. And then go over it all real quick with a nylon cut brush, and you can respray that thing. I could probably do it in one day, one afternoon. It takes longer to tape it and everything than it does to actually paint it. So I would say more than likely it'd be 2 days, just because I know the way that things happen whenever I'm trying to do them. But I would say that it's possible to have it done in one day if the weather cooperates, to take a cut brush over it, tape it off, and then respray it and have a fresh new coat. And you know, that's probably only going to take you like one kit, probably 4 to 6 quarts. So 1.5. And if you did that, you know, that's going to be somewhere between 150 to 200 bucks. Where else can you get a fresh coat of paint for 200 bucks? You tell me. And probably like 300 by the time you add the tin in, but still, I mean, you're going to have fresh paint all over the exterior of your car that's going to blend in together. So for me, that's a huge plus personally.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.